What is troubling about this takeover? If Melrose is willing to stay in the UK and hold the defense business for 5 years, why is that still a concern?
So the big issue for our industry, both the companies who work with GKN as their suppliers, but also their customers, is that whilst I appreciate the commitment from Melrose of 5 years, in their terms is quite significant. In the defence, in the aerospace and indeed in the automotive industry, 5 years is a relatively short period of time and does not reflect the kind of investment cycles that are required to be successful in the long term. So the issues that we were raising were the need to ensure that whoever takes over the business, or whoever is the owner of the business, they have that longer-term view and longer-term commitment to ensure that the company can be successful over, many, many years, as they have over the course of the last 250 or so.
So the big competing bidder is Dana, the U.S. automotive parts supplier. Would you support that bid? Well,
again, I think that's there are two different strategies running, and it's I'm not particularly concerned about the who, it's the what and how that our focus. I mean, one of the reasons why there's such a lot of activity around GKN and the competing bidders are fighting so hard is because GKN is a fantastic prize. It has been an incredibly well-run business over a very long period of time. I think they would acknowledge that there's some challenges in the last year or so, but they have created a phenomenal business, invested consistently and over that long period of time, and its customers and suppliers are now really interested in execution and delivery, and all of this kind of flurry of bids, counter bids is potentially distracting for the business at a point in time when its major markets in automotive going through major technological change, and in aerospace ramping up and growing globally at a rate which is incredibly significant.
It's funny. When we hear about these public companies that do aerospace, defense, and automotive, we tend to hear more about the consumer-facing products than, the weapons of war. So I think of the automotive products, an automotive life cycle, as you said, is only 5 years. It's one life cycle, basically, for auto investment. What are the defense side of the business? What are the important parts they make for the defense side of the business?
So, there are a range of activities. So, on a number of major platforms. So, people may be or may not be familiar with the A400M, which is a transporter plane produced by Airbus. But
big Airbus plane.
Key parts of the wings are produced by GKN. Perhaps more importantly, the Typhoon fast jet fighter and the F-35 fast jet fighter are reliant on some key components from GKN. They are a world leader in term transparencies, but they might be better understood as the canopies that protect the pilot. So, these are key components, and the product life cycle for a defence product is many decades. So whilst there is, the challenge in aerospace and in defence is it's a lumpy investment cycle. So you do have to invest significantly and consistently over a long period of time, but the returns are even longer. If you think of some of the major aerospace products from Boeing and Airbus, their products are 30 and 40-year life cycles. So if you are one of the businesses that have invested and are supplying to those businesses, your returns are secure over a very long period, and in our sector, actually growing quite rapidly.
So would you be insistent then that we get more significant terms, longer commitments, for example, from Melrose before you would agree to any kind of transaction?
Unfortunately for me, I don't get a say in the final decision. I think we would be saying to whoever is running this business, existing management...
Or to the business secretary, or to Greg Clark.
And to Greg Clark, that he needs to, if you like, hold the business, his feet to the fire on this, because as a country in the UK, we have invested and supported GKN over a long period of time. It is of strategic national importance, and it is important that the way in which the business is run, if you like, reflects the priorities of employees, of suppliers and customers, and most importantly in the UK, pensioners, as well as the short-term returns of shareholders.
Have you spoken to people at GKN about this? Have you spoken to GKN investors about this?
So our focus has mostly been talking to the customers and the suppliers who are part of our organisation, rather than the management direct. But you know, and hopefully I'm reflecting the views of our sector reasonably fairly.
All right.